you have to have that sort of mindset, that success, that abundance mindset, that I'm going to put this work in and thank you in advance for the results I'm going to get from this.
Yeah, 100%. I can't agree with you more. I think it is important to recognize your resources and what you have around you. Because if you don't give credit to the resources, what you have, you're just finding reasons of what's wrong, right? You're finding reasons as to why it's not working. And as society, sometimes it's not our fault. Sometimes it's not your fault. We're wired by this way from a younger age. From little kids growing up, we're taught like, hey, it's okay, don't worry about it, just don't do that, be safe, right? Don't take risks, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And it's conflicting information, because when you are in sales or when you are trying to get motivated, you have to learn how to put all your eggs in one basket. And it's really a matter of going all in. And what I have found, what really helps me in regards to staying consistent is when you recognize where you are now and you think in the past of certain things that you've overcome. Like me personally, I've been homeless. I've been a drug addict. I ran with the wrong crowds, and I grew up as a knucklehead. I've been in jail multiple times. I've been arrested. I've been almost on my way to the army because I had nothing going for me. And then when I recognized that I was actually going to be a parent, the funny thing is that it was the fear of me not providing and the fear of my child going through what I went through that turned my life around. And I thank God it happened, but through these challenges and coming up, because you're going into an environment where you're foreign, right? This is an environment that you're not used to. And that's something that I had to face and coming up, and I multiple times I've failed and then had to climb back up, failed and had to climb back up. Like we were talking about the 2008 recession. I was definitely part of that. I lost my house, I lost a couple cars, and I was very young at the time. And, I winded all the way back down to zero. And money was my status at the time. It was your status, because you become so reliant on brand names. You become reliant on this figure of baller status, right? Because this is society. This is the public image that people think you're cool because you got Gucci flip-flops. But really in reality, what we want is we just want to have the alternative, right? So the alternative of Walmart, we want Target, right? We want Target. Instead of Target, we want, the next up thing. So we're always on this constant climb. And we find ourselves where sometimes it's hard to climb and sometimes it's really hard to dig deep. And again, what's really helped influence me is just knowing the alternative. And so if you don't pursue the higher alternative, it is your choice to settle and stay back. And it's just like it's a choice to rely on an excuse. When you give yourself an excuse, you've justified why you're settling. You've justified why you're not going to step up. And no one can be mad at anybody but you, right? That's your life. You chose to do that. And so I really had to rely on that in coming up and going through these different challenges. So, and then of course I went from street sales to legal sales, right? Like I was legally doing it and I made it into a game. And that's, you asked me, how do I keep my team so motivated? How I keep my team motivated is I actually shelter them off and I make their own community. You see, I work in a call center, so I have over 200 sales agents all around me. It's a huge call center. And my team's only 10 of these 200 people, so we're just this little pocket of group. But what I do every day is I keep control of what they hear. I keep control of what they see. And more importantly, I keep control of how they're motivated. And so I put them against each other, actually, because I understand that salesmen are naturally competitive. And then when you build them up into teams and you put them against each other, you build a culture. It's like a team within a huge team. And when you build this world, you have a little bit more control of what penetrates your world. Because if one member of your team doesn't agree with things that are being influenced by the outside, the other team that does agree and buy into that culture will influence that person from swaying different. Everyone will gang up and say, "Hey, man, you're having the wrong mindset. You could do it. You could get back up." And it's a beautiful thing to see the team help each other versus most salesmen who's just out to get themselves.
And something that I heard you say that really resonated with me right now, that I'm like, don't forget this, is that I'm such an advocate about telling my viewers and my listeners and everybody around me and in my coaching, when I coach people, is that you are 100% responsible for the choices that you make, for the
100.
behaviors that you exemplify or display to others, for the people that you keep in your life, and everything around you. But you also are 100% responsible for the emotional reaction that you give situations.